guests. Today we're together in our great YouTube series where we uncover several trending topics week by week, detail by detail. Specifically for this video though, we have a really interesting topic to be uncovered. Geochemists found a leak of helium-3 gas in the rocks of Baffin Island, and there's a high possibility that this leak continues until the core of the Earth.
Although it might not seem that revolutionary at first glance, it is if you take a deep look. This leak is a proof of a theory that was considered pretty probable for years due to the high helium-3 findings in the lava samples of the same island. The core of the Earth is actively leaking gas that it reaches until the rock formation of the surface. You might be curious, however, what ensures that this gas is from the core of the Earth? Well, even though this leak might be coming from a different part of the underground structures or have a completely different cause, helium-3 itself is a pretty old type of gas. So old that its existence predates today by 1 billion years, when the Earth's deep core was being formed. In the period we are talking about, this gas was trapped inside the core of Earth, where it was preserved for millions of years. Therefore, we can suggest that this gas predates all of the other layers of the underground, giving the gas leak from the core of the Earth finding its relevancy. Getting complete proof regarding the current discovery seems to be the way to acquire core information regarding the core of the Earth to the scientists. Together with this discovery may be the start of a new era for the field, as it gives us the chance to conduct deep research with the core matter itself. If achieved, this research can give us a ton of information regarding the matter. There is one more reason behind our hopes for this discovery. Helium-3 itself is a really rare element, ensuring us that it's hard to be found abundantly even on this specific island. Now you might be curious about this question. What makes this substance so rare and special? Well, there are two important things to consider to answer this. Firstly, helium-3 itself comes from the sun, and sunlight carries it to our atmosphere. Since Earth has an atmosphere that does not allow a bulk of the substance to pass, helium-3 does not have any major chances of getting to the Earth's soil, reducing the probability of finding it in such a high point of the soil, where interaction with the core is really limited compared to the rest of the soil. We have proof of helium-3 findings in the other celestial bodies as well, such as the Moon. We got to discover extensive amounts of helium-3 on the Moon's surface, completely different from the Earth's case. It is presumed that this high rate of helium-3 on the surface is due to the weak atmosphere of the Moon, an atmosphere that is not as successful as Earth's atmosphere in terms of not letting any helium-3 trespass into the planet. This proves that our atmosphere indeed does reduce the possibility of this leak being a mass interaction with the sunlight, as our atmosphere does not allow such major interactions. Secondly, helium-3 cannot be artificially formed, and it is rarely formed naturally. You see, helium-3 is the decayed version of tritium. Since tritium can last for slightly more than 12 years in a normal atmosphere, it takes slightly longer than 12 years to form helium-3. However, there is more than that. Tritium is the least common helium isotope. It is so uncommon that for each 1018 protium atoms, only one tritium comes into the Earth. This means that the formation of helium-3 is rare because it is a decayed version of tritium, itself a rare isotope. Since it is close to impossible for Earth's surface to create such an extensive amount of helium-3, the possibility of a gas leak from the core is strengthened.
Now I hope you understand the reason why there's a high possibility of a core leak and how it can revolutionize the technology we have today. Since this is probably a core leak, we'll get to obtain a lot of the same substance while discovering even new ones in the future decades. Helium-3 itself is even pretty valuable, especially since it has a pretty important use. It can be used for space travel. Yes, you heard me right. By actively using helium-3, we can shorten the time required to travel to Mars from 7 to 8 months to 2 days. Although this might seem revolutionary in the true sense, the fact that helium-3 is so rare and we're still not capable of artificially creating it reduces the possibility of this happening soon. The only way we obtain extensive amounts of helium-3 is to obtain it from the Moon. However, since we do not have the technology to do so, we are forced to wait. Well, dear viewer, with this discovery, we'll be capable of getting deep into the core of the Earth and learning a lot more about it. However, it will take a significant amount of time, especially since we'll still have a long road to take for our goals to come to fruition. For now, do not forget to subscribe and check our website. It was Hefsel Times.